All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another mini episode of the MFR Coaches podcast live. So, welcome in, everybody. I am your host, Heather Hummel, the MFR coach, and I have with me today Patti Calkins, who has been on the regular podcast before, which you will hear her episode soon if you haven't heard it already. And she is a previous coaching client of mine. So, Patti, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah. All right. So let's just chat a little bit about your experience of like what was going on with you, like emotionally, like in your business when you decided that you were going to pull the trigger and come for coaching. Like, had you been thinking about it for a long time or what was really going on?
No, not at all. I was new to my business, maybe 3 or 4 months in,
Mhm.
and I had valued myself, as
Mhm.
many of us do, and set my rates lower than I should have. I did it. I was like, oh, I'll just do how everybody else is doing it.
Yeah.
Um, and I was processing how to move forward from there. I was going to just, increase my rates like $10.
Mhm.
And my friend told me about you, which was funny because I had already read your book, but I didn't know about a podcast.
Mhm.
And so she was like, oh, she's doing this Raise Your Rates boot camp. And I said, oh, well, that's perfect. That's exactly what I need. And over the 5 days that we were in the boot camp, I realized that I needed more.
Mhm.
I felt like what you had to offer was really clear and very practical and incredibly useful to me. Um, and I had, an extra like 5 or 6 weeks before the program started to dive into your material. And by the time we started coaching, I had been through everything and had, gone ahead and sort of set things up. I already had set my new price rates and I was ready to roll, but I was like, well, I wonder what I'm going to get out of this now that I've gone through all of her materials. But it turns
Yeah.
out there was a lot that I was going to get out of it.
I love that. So let's talk about that a little more. So you had access to the course, and
Hmm.
I like to think of the course as like its own coaching container, right? Like you can
Yeah.
consume and get so much coaching, self-coaching, learn how to coach yourself, and really set up all the foundations you need to have a six-figure business or to like change whatever business you have into those foundations to create that. So when you started with the live coaching, do you want to just talk about kind of like the difference between what you get in the course and what you get in live coaching?
Well, the what you get in the recorded material is you get to listen to a lot of. If you listen to, there's so much there.
Mhm.
Little more than I need, like that I ever looked at. But
Yeah,
if you
because
look
there's every single coaching call is recorded and
right,
available.
but
Yeah.
but you see a wide variety of people getting coached with a similar problems, different problems. There's certainly a lot of overlap. And that's where you can kind of pick up like, oh, well, that's an interesting way to think about that. Or,
Mhm.
oh, maybe that I can reflect on that and see how that applies. But actually being present in a live coaching call, multiple live coaching calls, you get when you raise your hand, and you might not ever raise your hand, which is totally your option.
Mhm.
But if you raise your hand, you're going to get something that's tailored just for you. So you may have already gotten some of that already, or bits and pieces of it from somebody else's that you listen to, or even in the live calls. But
Mhm.
you're going to get something that's really specific to you. And the better able you are to like share what you need or what your concerns are, the more information you're going to get, the more value you're going to get from it,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah. So I
um,
think it's totally normal to be like, well, what do I need or what am I going to get out of this or be kind of confused at the beginning of coaching. But I think people, especially like our groups, like everybody catches on really quick, even people that are really resistant, and I'm sure you've witnessed people being resistant, and you've probably felt resistant to like asking for help or like whatever the coaching was on. Like, can you think of any time where you were like, what is Heather talking about and what am I getting out of this? Or did you always have a sense of like, oh, I get what she's saying and I can just go apply this into my business?
I, I don't remember ever feeling like there were things that wasn't going to have value from.
Mhm.
Um, I certainly got a lot more than I ever imagined that I was going to
Mhm.
get, for sure. Um, I, I thought, oh, this is just business, this is
Mhm.
just, and business is just all this really practical stuff.
Yeah.
But the the coaching calls are all the interior work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I think there's always value there. And even when somebody's got issues, different kinds of issues that I don't necessarily feel like I have at that level, there's some part of me that, I mean, we're all, we're all human. We all have human problems.
Mhm.
Um, and even if we're, what we think is level 2 and this other person's maybe level 10,
Mhm.
um, even if you're at level 2, you can get a benefit from seeing what somebody's needing at level 10.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Exactly.
someday you're going to wake up and you're going to be level 10 and you're going to be like, oh, that's right. If I just do my thought download, then I'll get, I can figure this out.
Yeah. Or this is where such and such had this hiccup. I don't have to have this hiccup if I make this decision now before I get to level 10. Or I'm seeing that I'm getting near there. We're just making up these levels. They don't mean
There's no
anything.
levels, but
Yeah, there's no levels,
like,
but
but in your
yeah.
brain, you're thinking, oh, that's not really my issue.
Mhm.
But
Like, I don't even have a website yet. So why do I need to think about like people late canceling? Right. And
right,
yeah.
exactly. But, eventually, we grow our businesses and our, you're going to end up probably having to do all those things.
Mhm. Yeah.
There are many
One thing
things that
I was
happened along
like,
the way.
yeah. And I was listening to your podcast episode. And one thing I was thinking that was so interesting is the part in the course where I teach everybody how to have like one price point and one offer. And there's always somebody in the group or multiple people that are like, I'm not getting rid of 90-minute sessions. And you were definitely one of those people. And then there came this like tipping point where you were like, I'm seeing more people than I want. Like I'm adding people into my schedule because I can and I feel bad, right? And I don't want to get rid of anybody and I don't want to like make these other people pay the new rate and like what all the drama, right? That we think we're coached through, but we still have the drama. And then you were all of a sudden you were like, no, this is why we get rid of 90-minute sessions. So we have the maximum amount of space to see the maximum amount of clients and so that you can
Exactly.
maximize the amount of money that you can make as well with the time that you have.
Right.
All of a
Right.
sudden your time becomes so valuable, like the busier you get and the more booked out you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to talk about that
I'm living
experience
that,
though?
baby.
Yeah, you're living that, but like that time where like what was the hesitation of like telling people like I'm not going to do 90-minute sessions anymore?
Um, it was really that I thought that with 90 minutes, we could go deeper and get, and I think that that probably is true. Like
Mhm.
90 minutes for the people who have a hard time letting go, they, even at 90 minutes, most people just can't not. They
Mhm.
just are, it's like they're gonna go down and they're gonna
Mhm.
just relax and get the full benefit of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other people with 60-minute, maybe they're gonna try and talk through the whole thing.
Mhm.
Um, but 90 minutes. So that was my resistance. But I had to be realistic. I could not reach as many people,
Mhm.
and I had so many people flooding, my books, and the way I was managing it was overworking. And
Yeah.
you're really helped me be really clear that I didn't have to do that. I had
Yeah.
a choice, and and one of those choices I made was to go down to 60s, and there was, there were a few people that were sad.
Yeah.
And,
And that's okay.
yeah, that's okay. This year I had like 2 or 3 weeks that were a little lighter. And I said, hey, for a short time, I'm going to offer 90s. And you cannot believe all those people who had 90s before, they were like, I'm taking those 90s. And then I made them go away. I told them they were
Yeah.
only going to be around for a little while. So
I like that. Like for everybody watching this, like what a great idea. And also when you're not caught up in the drama of having a lighter week because you've set up your business to handle lighter weeks, right? Like the majority of the time, like everything evens out. And when you have that thought, you get that calmness and clarity and creativity to create some massively valuable special like this that client, like it's so good the clients will say yes to it no matter what it is. Like that's so great. And that's exactly what I want you to be able to have is that opportunity for your schedule, for anything to happen in your schedule and for you to have unbothered energy, just offering something people will buy, whether that's a package price or a discount or a 90-minute, like whatever it is, because you want to and you can, not because you have to. And you're like, please, people come in here and buy this from me. It's totally different energy.
yeah. Yeah. No, it's a good place to be for sure.
Yeah.
I like it much more.
Yeah. Right. Like I feel like you have just such like a cool calmness to you in your business. Like you're just like, yep, if I have an opening, I offer it to people. I don't have to be embarrassed about it. If I want to offer a special, like I just do it. I don't overwork. These are the hours I work. So
Yeah.
good.
I got so like, you helped me get clear on that stuff because
Mhm.
I was a little overwhelmed I started my business in January of 2022 and I met you in May and I
Mhm.
was building my business. I had a pretty good business.
Yeah, nothing was wrong with it, right? Like you didn't
No,
even know you wanted business coach. You weren't like sitting around like,
no,
how can I make this better? Like it's actually pretty good.
yeah, I was fully booked,
Yeah.
maybe 2 or 3 weeks out, I think at the time.
Mhm.
Um, but I, gosh, I wasn't clear. Like I was still doing people pleasing stuff and not really cognizant of that.
Yeah. I think
And
that's
you,
just such like so regular, like it's just so normal. I mean, I do
yeah,
it too. I'm recording another podcast episode on people pleasing and like boundaries and like how many decisions we keep ourselves from making because we don't want to feel a certain way. So we just like low level feel gross all the time, but that's just our baseline. And that's a
yeah,
problem.
yeah. I don't miss, I still get that a little bit at times,
Yeah.
but I felt it a lot more often than I do now, a
Mhm.
lot more
Mhm.
often.
That's one of those like intangible benefits, I think, from coaching where it's like you think you're going to get these practical skills, but you get so much more. Like you stop people pleasing and you become the person that no longer does that or is onto themselves when they do it and makes decisions from your greater good than from like status quo of like, I don't want to piss anybody off. So this is how I show up in that kind of energy versus like, this is me as a CEO making CEO decisions for future me that hasn't even gotten the result that I want yet so that I can get that result.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
powerful. So good. Okay.
yeah.
Do you want to share any like funny things you thought about? Like, it sounds like you kind of made a really quick decision to just join coach. You were like, yes, this is for me. I'm opting in. Was there any like hesitation to joining or any like funny thoughts you had about it or anything you were afraid of that just was like absurd after you joined?
No, there are many times that I get an intuitive, like, I guess it's intuition, like, this is
Mhm.
what I'm supposed to do. There I was. My dilemma was that I couldn't raise I knew I needed to raise my rates
Mhm.
and I couldn't figure out how to do it without pissing somebody off. And I really was only going to like raise the rates $10.
Yeah.
Um, and there you were saying, hey, this is the thing I do. I'm going to show you how to do it. And not only am I going to show you how to do it, you're going to decide how much you get paid. And the amount I landed at was not $10 more. It was a lot more, which scared the Jesus out of me.
Yeah. Wasn't it like $60 more? You
Yeah.
raised your rate 60.
Yeah, I raised
bucks?
my rate $60,
Mhm.
which felt like a lot. I
Yeah.
remember
I mean, it's
I remember my
incredible.
daughter telling me, "Mom, that's nuts. Nobody's gonna come see you."
Yeah.
And I mean, like the month I did that, I since that month, I have been booked out 4 to 6 weeks.
Isn't that incredible? So, like, for everybody watching this, listening to this is possible for you too. Your brain is going to tell you that you can't do it. You need to be safe. You've got to consider what everybody can afford. Got to consider the account, like all these things that are like your responsibility to figure out for other people. But when you really decide what you want and what you need to be earning, and you just put it out there in the world, there are consumers out there that will happily pay your rate and they will become your clients and you will get
Yes,
fully booked. That's it.
exactly. I mean, you always say your clients will pay your rate. I mean, they don't,
100% of them. Yeah.
100% of them will. It's like they
Yeah.
don't know what that I charged $90.
And
The
even
people,
if they do, I'm sure you have people that paid you $90 for the exact same service that are still on your books. Is that true?
yeah. I mean, most of the people, well, not most, but some of the people I see were paying 90, and
Yeah.
they're and went to
And they're
150
fine.
last year. They're fine.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're going to be fine. I raised my rates for new clients in May, and I'm going to raise them in August for everybody else.
Okay.
And to time to peel that Band-Aid off
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Like people might be like, why are you raising your rate again? Like you just raised it $60 a year ago. Like what's going on? But here's the thing. You were making decisions on that, like, and still playing it safe, most likely. Like
I
a lot of
was.
people do that, right? And like, even though it's $60, it's still like, I feel good about this rate. Like I can tell when people are gonna like have to change their rate because they feel good about their rate. So
Yeah,
I'm always like, pick one that is based on facts, right? And then also, it should make you really uncomfortable and you're going to grow into the person that becomes comfortable with it. So what's your new rate going to be? Just curious.
$200. So
Okay.
I'm going to go from doing a 60-minute visit to 75.
Mhm.
But it's really not any different. I'm going to be charging for education. So 15, they get 60 minutes on the table and 15 minutes for the self-care component, which is critical to successful
Mhm.
work.
Mhm.
And I felt like I was glossing over it, moving quickly. Patients would go flying out the door because they
Mhm.
thought they needed to get out the door so my
Mhm.
next person could come in, not knowing that I had plenty of time set aside.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have done not, now I'm spending time on the floor, showing them
Mhm.
exercises, really talking about their self-care habits and how
Yeah.
to implement them better. And I just feel like they're going to, I know, not feel like, but I know that they're going to have even better results
Mhm.
because what they're doing when they're not in the room with me is
Mhm.
going to help bridge the gap.
Right.
So I haven't really, like, theoretically, I haven't really raised my rates. What I've done is I'm getting paid for my education component.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. And I would
it's
even
pretty
like,
expensive.
I would even challenge you to still like on your website and everything forward facing, tell people that it's a 60-minute treatment. And then when you talk to them, let them know that they're going to have 60 minutes of hands-on time. And then you're going to spend some time educating them on like what's next, like that's going to look like what their treatment plan is and what their self-care plan is, and really sell it still as a 60-minute service and not rest on or justify the increased rate because of the increased time. Like I would just challenge you, like see what happens for doing
I
that.
hear
How does
what
that land?
I hear what you're saying completely. I think there's a part of me that, because of my background, my 20 years in
Mhm.
physical therapy and 10 years as an MFR therapist, all the things that I've done, I have just like this huge wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
And I do want people to have the expectation that that we're going to be spending a little bit of time on that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think that that's good. Like liking your reasons why and like being really honest about your reasons why. Like you want people to know that they're paying for this time. like that's different than like I'm extending the time in the hope that people will be less activated by the price. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm
No,
just checking
no.
in.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a little bit of that. I would be lying to you to say that's not there still.
Yeah.
But I think I feel really solid about this because
Mhm.
I know that good care involves the time outside, the
Mhm.
invested time outside of the space on the table.
Mhm.
And I have such a breadth of knowledge to
Mhm.
share, and we're talking about so many different things.
Yeah.
And it's useful. It's really incredibly useful. And I just now I'm like, they have that expectation. They're going to be there for that 15 minutes to talk about this stuff.
Mhm.
And I know that we're going to, really I'm going to help people at another level.
Mhm. I
So
love it.
I feel good about that. I feel like
Yeah.
I should get paid for that time because
Well, you should always be getting paid for your time, right? But
right,
the thing
exactly.
is like
But I was giving it away
of
before.
course. Yeah. Yep. So now you just need to make sure you have plenty of space still in your schedule
I
for the in
do. I feel
between and
good.
all
I
that.
feel good.
Yeah.
I used to have 0 minutes as a PTA.
Right.
I
Well, yeah, I know, but it doesn't mean like still cram as many as you can in.
no, I
Because
haven't
you did it
changed
before,
anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't changed anything. I still see 4 people a day,
Yeah.
4 days a week. That's
Same
it.
amount of time. Perfect. I love it so much. Okay. Do you want to share your numbers like before, like the first few months you were in business and then your numbers that
Yeah.
changed?
So like, for instance, the first quarter of 2022, I grossed $10,000.
Okay.
This Q1, I grossed 30.
Wow. That's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Last year I made like 20 something, I think, before I officially started coaching. 27, 28, something like that. I wrote this down. Because my brain, yeah, I made $26,000 between January and June of 2022. And
Mhm.
I doubled that in July to December.
Wow.
So this year I won't double what I made last year,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna at least, increase it
Are you
by
sure you won't double what you made last year? What'd you make for all of 2020?
$75,000.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you'll definitely hit
I'm definitely,
100K.
oh yeah, for sure. I'm gonna hit
Have
100K.
you ran the numbers with your new rate and like, do you
Yeah,
know
if I had the new rate for the whole year, it'd be double what I made
Mhm.
last year.
Okay.
But there's gonna be, a gap. Like half the year will have been, for
Yeah.
most people, the lower rate. So
Yeah. It's still really incredible, like especially for someone like their first years in business to hit 75K, that's your first year in business.
yeah,
Like that's quite amazing. So I don't want to like undercut it because I know everybody's like, but it's not
like
six figures or it's not blah, blah, blah. It's like,
I
it's your
know.
first year in business. Like I was in business 10, 12 years and I never made that much money.
I didn't make that. I've never made that much money as a PTA. On
Yeah.
paper, I was supposed to make that much money at the end of my career, but I never got enough hours
Right. Well, and
because they
plus,
always
like,
cut
this is
me.
another thing we talk about in your other podcast episode is
I
like
know.
how you would have to work over 40 hours, like really working your ass, like really working hard
Yeah.
to get the same result. And in this, like, how many hours do you work a week?
I work, I treat for 16 hours.
Okay. So 16
So I'm
hands on
gone
and then,
yeah, but I'm gone about 6 hours a day.
okay. Yeah. 4 days a week or five.
4.
Yeah. So
And
24 hours.
24 hours. I took 2+ weeks in January for a trip.
Mhm.
I'm going to SES for a week in June,
Mhm.
about a week to go to Advanced Unwinding in July.
Mhm.
Um, like just in the month of April, like May and June, I'm taking I have like a bunch of 3-day weeks. Like
Yeah.
this week is a 3-day week.
Yeah. I just
Because
love the freedom and the flexibility when you're making plenty of money. And then the practice of giving yourself time off. And that's another thing that I guess we like don't talk about that so much. I haven't really talked about that with anybody else on one of my podcasts is like the on purpose practice of taking time off outside of going to seminars, right? Because like a lot of people consider that time off, but you're actually working and learning, like your brain is on, your body is on.
Yeah. So
But
it's working. I think it's
yeah, I
working.
think it counts as working. So, but most therapists are like, this is the only time off I have, right? And it's like, it's not okay. So,
No.
but the part where like you are taking time off and you are, going camping this weekend, like resting and rejuvenating and like taking care of yourself on a different level, you are going to be able to last much longer, be healthier, feel better in everything you do, like your clients more because you're rested. Everything is just
Yeah.
easier to manage when you take care of yourself.
Well, and that's how I mean, one, that those are the things that I recommend for my clients. I
Mhm,
want them to have balance in their life, but I
mhm.
never practiced that when I was in the physical therapy world. And I
Yeah,
wasn't in the place last year for the most part to be able, like, I still was for probably half the year feeling graspy, like, is this all going to work out?
yeah.
Um, and, by the end of the year, I was getting, well, by the middle of the year, I was getting regular MFR treatment every week.
Mhm.
Um, I
So
was,
good.
I added yoga in the beginning of this year, and I just
Mhm.
added a personal trainer this week.
Perfect.
Those are all things that are critical for me to be successful
Mhm.
taking care of other people.
Yeah.
And my gosh, the time off is critical too.
Yeah. And now you've just created this lifestyle that supports everything that you're doing. And you've got that kind of as a side effect from creating the business that can fund this lifestyle where you can have a
Yeah,
trainer and you can have regular treatment and you can have time off and you can go on vacation and you can go to however many seminars you want when you want to.
true.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. And I so appreciate you helping me get into the headspace to be able to do that, because that was the part we haven't quite talked, like, I, or maybe I have like kind of alluded to it, but that was the part that I didn't expect.
Mhm.
I thought I was just going to be getting really practical, like, this is, you do this and plug this in and you do that,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then it all is magic. But it was me having to like really look at why I was making the decisions I was making and what
Mhm.
was holding me back. And it still is. I still,
Yeah.
those things haven't gone away. They're those parts of me are still there. It's just that I wave hi to them and I'm like, okay, you can be a people pleaser for, you can think
Mhm.
about it, but that's not going to benefit you to put that hat on.
Right. Well, and the thing is like when we're aware of our shit, like we get the opportunity to have a choice about it. And then we can see when we're behaving in a way that we don't like. We don't have to disparage ourselves for it or even like be disappointed in ourselves. We can just be like, oh, hey, there you are again. That's just so practiced. You just did it again. That's okay. We're just not going to do that next time. And that willingness to just allow for mistakes or for things to happen. And it doesn't have to mean anything. Doesn't have to mean you have a pattern and that it's going to take you a long time, right? A lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, I just have a long history of people pleasing. It's going to take forever to get out of it. And I'm like, no, you have like so much awareness around this. It doesn't take a long time. It just doesn't have to take a long time. And even if it did, say it takes you 5 years to quit people pleasing, at least you're not 95 when you quit, right? Like you get this
Yeah.
whole experience of this long life without the people pleasing, however you get there. So
Yeah.
if that's your choice, that's what you want to work on. But
Right. Exactly. I mean, there are plenty of other things too, but
there's so many options. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to
exactly.
wrap up because we're trying to keep these mini. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience about your experience of coaching or anything you would want to say to someone who's like not as on board of joining? Like maybe they're thinking they've been in business for a long time or they haven't started their business and they're like hesitant because they don't know that they need help. How will they know?
Well, they might not know, but if they're an MFR therapist, they should take this opportunity to invest in themselves and their business, try it for, whatever length of time is required, and find out what exactly this is all about, because you're going to get so much more than you ever imagined. You're going to learn so much about yourself, and it's going to be good for your business. It's going to be good for your clients. It's going to be good for the people in your life that are not, in your business, your family members. It just helps you get straight in so many different places in your life. And, and even if the only thing you got out of it was, enhancing your business and how you presented in that world. I mean, we just talked about why there's value for me, why there's been value for me and so many others. It's like, gosh, now I have a successful business and I can take vacation. I don't have to kill myself and, at work, and I'm enjoying life in so many different places.
Yeah. And that's on top of like how many hundreds of people you help every month.
Right.
Right. Because you can talk about MFR and because you can confidently sell it, that's how you help the people, right? If you're hesitant to sell it, you need other people to like understand it ahead of time or co-sign it. It just slows down people finding it and getting it, buying it, getting better. So
yeah.
All
They
right.
should
Well,
just do it.
they should just do it, right?
Just
get
do
in
it.
there.
I
Come
mean,
in.
just come on. It's not like, it's scary or anything. Look how nice she is.
It's fun to hang out with other MFR therapists, I think.
That too.
Yeah. And talking shop is just, I think that must be why I love it so much, because we just get to talk shop all day. It's so fun.
Well, and it doesn't necessarily, like, even though I finished coaching 9 months ago, I mean, I still have an access to many of those people. I still see them on Instagram, interact with them. We still have our own Facebook group for the alumni, and we get to interact with each other. I mean, it's an opportunity to really like connect with people who are doing the exact same thing you are, probably somewhere else. I mean, although, I got plenty of people here in town. It's because you don't have to feel alone.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the beautiful things that you do is you're taking our MFR community and, for those who are interested in learning what you have to offer or taking what you have to offer, like you're taking a small group of people and making it a smaller community, which gives us an opportunity to really connect at a level that we don't always get to at courses, and learn together and grow together, and maybe develop deep relationships that that are going to support our continued growth. That's good
Yeah,
stuff.
that's so good. Sorry, I have construction going on over here and it's like, ugh. Don't know if you can hear it or not. Oh, so funny. All right, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and being willing to kind of share your testimonials about what you got out of coaching. It helps other people opt in, right? They can see the safety and like you survived it. It's okay. It's safe to do this. It's safe to
I mean, my hair wasn't gray before, but now it is.
right.
Heather,
I also
thanks
like
to
I caused
Heather, my
people
hair
to
went gray.
yes, blame that on me, Patty.
No, that's a
I'll
lie.
shock your hair color right out of you. Oh my gosh, we're so funny. All right, tell everybody where they can find you so that they can look you up and book an appointment with you.
Sure. My business is Exhale Myofascial Release RVA. I live in Richmond, Virginia. My website is www.exhalemfr, so it's exhalemfr.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll be back with another Minisode soon. Thank you all for joining us. Bye.
Bye.